Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm your beautiful host, Young Buffett, and in today's video, we're going to talk about what we always talk about. We're going to talk about Clove. We're going to take a look at what people are talking about. We're going to take a look at Max Payne. We're going to take a look at dark pool data, and we're going to take a look at some options and how to play them. But first and foremost, if you haven't already, hop over to Finery, where we talk about some crazy things that are going on with Shiba. We're talking about stocks all day long. And we have Tim, who is designing us clocks. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. So if you haven't already, join the group. It's free to join. It's free to hang out. It's fun. But another thing that's fun to look at is Ape Wisdom. What are people talking about? We got Wall Street Bets, Wall Street Bets New, Wall Street Bets Elite, stock market, investing, SPACs, options, day trading, and short squeeze subreddits. They are tracking the most talked about stocks on Reddit for the past 24 hours. Number 1 being Prog, number 2 being Tesla, number 3 being SPY. Then DWAC had a nice little bounce back today. AMD, GameStop, Microsoft, Robinhood, Facebook, AMC, Apple, ATER, Smile Direct Club, OCGN, Snap, and then we continue to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll until we find Clove at number 37. So we are slowly falling down on the most talked about stock list, but it seems like that's okay because it seems like a lot of the other meme stock, basket stocks type stocks are also falling, which Clove does fall into. And I get asked this a lot. Is Clove a meme stock? Well, technically it is, everybody, but it's not just a meme stock. So don't be scared. There is a lot more to it. But nearby words include Wish, Puts, GME, Before, Had, Like, Tilray, Sub, Lost, AMC, LOL, down, Bet, Buy, Goes. So overall public sentiment has dropped from 90-something% positive to 50-50 almost, 53% overall sentiment. So that's not the best, but I don't really care. Most talked about stocks on Wall Street Bets, again, is Tesla, Microsoft, DWAC, AMD, Hood, Apple, Facebook, EME, Google, Amazon, Snap, PayPal, Ford, OCGN, blah, 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 and Clove is not on this list. So what we do is we search for it. This way we can see this chart because this is the only chart we really care about. This shows the price and the comment volume and comment sentiment. So comment volume has dropped drastically. So has the stock price, but there seems to be less and less momentum. But then again, that might be okay. Jumping into Max Payne, this kind of gives more context of why the stock is the price that it currently is. The Max Payne is 7.5. Now, I say this in all of my videos for the past month or so. We've been tracking the Max Payne. We're watching where the stock closes every single week in conjunction to the Max Payne. If you don't already know, the Max Payne is the strike price that the stock needs to be at to cause the maximum amount of pain to the people who bought calls and puts. I have a full video that talks about every single thing you need to know about Max Payne. I'll make it a link somewhere over here somewhere. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. Very valuable. I don't want to keep repeating myself in all my videos, but Max Payne does seem to be important. So beginning of the week, Max Payne was 7.5. It's still 7.5. It might change, probably won't, but that means a lot of people are buying all of these calls, as you can see by these bar chart line graph thing. There's a lot of volume on all of these calls, and there seems to be a lot of volume on the puts as well. That means if Clove closes at 7.5, it'll cause the most amount of damage both to the upside and to the downside. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye out on it. I have a feeling we're going to close either at or slightly above or slightly below 7.5. And I have a feeling we're going to continue that trend up until earnings. I don't know what's going to happen on earnings. I do have a video planned, though, to talk about all things earnings. So definitely keep an eye out on this Max Payne. It should be interesting. I know a lot of people on the options chain, we can do a deeper dive into this, but a lot of people are piling into that 7.5 call for the weekly. Just because the Max Payne is 7.5 does not mean that the stock is going to go to 7.5. It totally might. You could have a nice little opportunity here. These are really cheap. It's like $4 or $5 to essentially own the leverage of 100 shares of Clove. If Clove decides to pop up, instead of buying these calls, I'm going to be looking at selling some calls and collecting some premium and walking away a winner. But anyways, jumping into dark pool data, let's search Clove here. And it looks like the the net short volume in dollars has gone down a little bit, but it's still being shorted. So again, a negative number means it's being shorted, which means the short interest is piling up and they're just keeping that lid on this boiling pot. I like to use this example a lot in my videos. CLOV seems to be a pot of water on a stove, and the hedge funds and market makers and other giant institutions that are shorting it are keeping the lid on a boiling pot of water, and we are the water, and we keep buying and buying and bubbling and bubbling. It's going to need some sort of catalyst to break out of this trend, and it has been stuck. But I saw this and it put a smile on my face, so maybe it'll put a smile on yours. Amazon fell from 110 to 11 before going to 3,000. Bitcoin dropped from 20,000 to under 4,000 before going to 60,000. Tesla went from 300 to 180 before going to 2,000. The trick isn't just picking the right investments, it's holding them. So I agree with that full-heartedly. Thank you to Triple GG Reg Starsky. Thank you for posting that. It's a good reminder that we're not in this for a quick pump and dump. I know some of you might be. I sure am not. We've collected over 409 shares so far. Our cost basis currently is sitting at $10.03. We're only $3 away. It's not that bad. It looks scary because we're down 27% on this investment. Typically stocks don't move that crazy or that fast. We've only been doing this for a couple months now, but it's been very fascinating to watch the control and the level of manipulation and predictability of this stock. So looking at the day, the stock opened up, bounced up to a high of 751. This red line right here is the max pain. I drew it at 750, so we can keep an eye out on how the stock and the candles react to being at or above or around the max pain. So as illustrated here, it went to the max pain, got scared, and worked its way right back down to that previous close line as illustrated by this teal line. And then it just held it forever and then finally dipped off as the overall market started to dip off a little bit. And also Shiba Inu started to go crazy at this time too. So a lot of that was attributed to retail, actually. The retail market started to exit. If you look at the S&P 500 right here on SPY, look at how crazy this was. The SPY was just doing its thing. It too was holding that previous clothesline, waiting for something, waiting for maybe more earnings, maybe just get some clarity on what's going on with the bond market and stuff. I don't know. But this drop right here was attributed to retail actually selling and moving their money around. A lot of people piled into Shiba Inu. We're up over, like 600, 700% on that dumpster fire, but it should be interesting to see how that plays off. Could it be a Doge-like scenario? I don't know. Totally could be. I don't even care anymore. I don't have time for another Doge incident, but the overall market started dipping. CLOV started dipping. Apple started dipping. Everything started dipping a little bit. Overall, it's all right. We might see a nice little run up back to that max pain just to hang out by the max pain, or it might just hold it right here. In terms of options, again, we're keeping our eye out on a green day. I do not sell calls on a red day because look at these numbers. I only sell calls when the calls are juicy. I do not want to sell a 7.5 call and collect $5. I'm not in it for that. And as earnings gets closer and closer, the premium and the expectation and the implied volatility should also start to get a little interesting. So with that, I love you, and I'll catch you in the next video.